All right, it looks like we're live. Welcome everybody who's listening in today. I'm really excited and pumped to do our first JellyPod episode where I'm going to be interviewing a bunch of different project founders all throughout the crypto and AI space. And today I'm super excited that our first project we're having on is none other than Talos. And Talos has been making major waves on Cardano. They're one of the largest and leading AI infrastructure projects out there on Cardano. And they've actually been a lot further ahead than different agents that I've seen on other chains. So in this sort of live stream today, I'm going to be talking to Decimalist about everything that they've been building there, learn a little bit more about them. And if you stay tuned to the end, guys, we're going to be doing a Q&A about 5 to 10 minutes. So if you have any questions that you want to personally ask him, this is going to be the perfect time to do so. But yeah, Decimalist, welcome to the show. Really funny, interesting fact here is we actually met in person back in CNFTCon maybe like 2 years ago now, something like that. It was very brief, but it's kind of funny that we've met already. And yeah, like just to kind of start this off, a lot of people know about Talos already. They might not know a lot about you. Did you kind of want to go into sort of your Web3 journey here of how you're now building Talos?
Yeah, so I've kind of I've been in the Cardano space specifically for a while. I think I started kind of early 2020. It was pretty funny because I think the very first NFT I've ever bought on any chain was on Cardano, and it was back when we had like CNFT.io, and it was like this escrow program where basically like you sent in ADA like because you wanted to buy an
Yes,
NFT and
dude.
then they had like 24 hours to get back to you. I sent in a lot of escrows with no response, but I remember the very first NFT that I actually bought was it was Ada Ninjas back in the day. Now it's Danketsu, and
Okay.
I still have that NFT today. Um, and yeah, no, that was so that's a little bit of like how long I've been here, and it kind of the type of person who I'll watch something for a good amount of time until I feel like I truly understand it, and then I'll start to get my hands dirty. So I kind of sat back and watched and messed around and invested in some projects and some stuff, and then finally, like after a couple years, I was like, yeah, you know what? I think I have a pretty good understanding of what the tech is, what there is, what's coming, and then kind of like how I could use my own expertise and skill set and kind of like mold it into a project and yeah, and then I started Flux Point Studios December of 2023.
Oh wow, so you've actually been building Flux Point for a while now. Because I think a lot of people really caught on to what you were doing with Talos, which was more recent. But you, how long? So what did you start with Flux Point? Like what
Yeah,
was before the whole AI agent meta? Like what were you into?
yeah. So ever since the beginning, Flux Point Studios was basically like I just set out with this idea, like, hey, I'm going to take the two things that I really like. Well, I guess three things that I really like. Um, I was working a 9 to 5 job in an AI field, right? I was doing data um, optimization and analytics for a company called Concentrix that I just recently left that job back in December. And essentially what they were is kind of like they own the entire customer service vertical. So like they can staff a call center for you, they can build like web apps and stuff like that to help with customer service. And so I was essentially building agents for them over the past 2 years
Hmm.
to do like this stuff, like interact as a normal human being, but more for the purpose of customer service, right? To help alleviate a little bit of pressure on their call centers and help reduce times in their queues and things like that. So I kind of like had the best experience one could possibly get for this type of work. And then also, I used to be a professional gamer. I think we talked about this at CNFT. What was it? NFTLV. That was what it was, right? Or CNFT
Yeah,
Con,
yeah.
something like that. But I
They
think that
changed
was
the
what we
name the
talked.
second time around. Yeah, it's like
Yes, yes.
CNFT con, and then yeah.
Yeah, and we talked about that a little bit because that's what I was showcasing there is I was showcasing Pit Brawl. It was the first product that Flux Point Studios ever launched. It was called a PFP Pit Brawl, and it was basically just a browser-based game that you can connect your NFTs to from your wallet, and you could play as those NFTs, and it was kind of like saved to your character profile and stuff like that. So that was the first product that we launched, and that was kind of what I was showcasing there. And that's ultimately what Flux Point Studios is we have a gaming arm that we're really trying to drive gaming innovation in the space and find a way to completely disrupt traditional gaming studios that really just serve as a liquidity extraction from the gaming public. And then also AI solutions, right? Those are kind of our two focuses. And so we had put out Pit Brawl, and then we released that we were building Tribe, right? And it's on, Epic Game Store and early access. But then Talos was really like our first, big entrance into the AI scene, I feel like.
Yeah, and it's kind of insane because, like, I've noticed that with running my own project too. Sometimes you don't even know what's really going to blow up. And I think Talos was one of those examples of something that just went insane. And I was going to ask this question later on, and I want to share my screen here. And hopefully Tap Tools will load. Tap Tools wasn't loading earlier. And I don't know why it's not loading. But one of the reasons that I want to pull up Tap Tools is just how crazy this chart is. Did you expect sort of Talos to get all of the views and recognition and price and kind of hype that it's had? Like, because I know you were saying, and here we go. I know you were saying that you had this whole background working in AI. You kind of been in this space earlier than a lot of people, so you probably knew some of the capabilities. But did you expect it to go like this? Because I even saw Talos has ad revenue now on X. And I thought that was so interesting because it made something like $440 already. It just got monetized. It had over 10 million impressions. And it's like kind of insane in my mind. I'm like, can you just make a bunch of agents and just generate passive income off of this? So yeah, I guess like to go to my real question, did you expect this sort of outcome?
Not at all. In fact, like the token was kind of an afterthought, to be honest. Like I got the agent ready and everything. I was very just like focused on the product. And then right before I went to launch, I paused and I took a moment and I said, hey, this narrative is very new. It's very fragile. And I feel like if I do not go and launch a token with it, somebody else is going to 100%. And I was even proven correct with another agent that launched like a couple weeks later, and there was some stuff that happened, some controversy there. But I said, you know what? If anyone's gonna do it, like let's do it ourselves. We'll do it right, protect the community from being rugged or scammed or anything like that. And plus, we're gonna do it better. We'll do it justice. So we launched the token. It bonded in like 30 minutes, and I was like, oh damn, like what happened?
30 minutes?
Yeah, it was like 30 or
30
45
seconds.
minutes, something like that. It was really crazy. That's where I was like,
crap.
oh crap. Something just crazy happened. So and then I immediately like called up our legal team and I was like, hey, this is a situation, like let's figure out what we need to do in order to support this. And so yeah. And then we just decided moving forward that we would become a 2-token ecosystem, which is not a problem at all. We just use Talos for all AI solutions going forward, and Shards is really the backbone of everything we do gaming. So
yeah, and that was actually my next question here. So I like when I pull up your guys' X, so you have Talos, which has been blowing up, and then you also have this Flux Point Studios. And I've seen in our community, especially in the beginning, the confusion between like Talos and like Flux. So can you give kind of a 2-minute breakdown of what Talos and Talos token is about? And then kind of give like a 2-minute breakdown of what Flux and the Shards token is about.
yeah, absolutely. So the easiest way to think about it is like Flux is the parent company, right? Flux is the organization that runs a gaming arm and an AI solutions arm. And under that parent company, we have our gaming products and our AI solutions, as you can see there. You're sharing on the screen there. So we had Cardevia. That was the first iteration. It's basically like a chat GPT for people that want to learn how to build on Cardano or Bitcoin. And then we had our games, right? And so Talos exists as basically an affiliate of Flux Point Studios, right? Like Flux Point Studios has both tokens that they support, Shards and the Talos token. And then Talos himself is essentially like our representative, right, of all of our AI solutions for the company. So yeah, he is a quote unquote employee of Flux Point Studios, if you think about it that way. And I think that's the easiest way to kind of like delineate, like he is basically an affiliate, he's a product, however you want to look at it, of Flux Point Studios, who also produces games, right?
Okay, yeah, and like, okay, so I see some token benefits and utilities here. Let's say someone wanted to get into, it's crypto, they want to buy tokens, right? Like what, do they buy shards or do they buy Talos? Like, what is kind of the main benefit behind the actual tokens? Like, is Talos just kind of a representation of that agent, or are people spending Talos, or are they spending the shards on the business side? Because I know, not to get too into detail, but I know you're working with potentially Chakra from Indigo, and you guys are doing a bunch of deals with different businesses. Like, which one is tied to what in that sense?
Yeah. So the easiest way to think about it, like very cleanly and simply, is like if you're interested in like the gaming play, Shards is the way to go. If you're interested in the AI play, Talos is like AI solutions specifically, Talos is the way to go, because we will have AI within games. And so we're going to do something unique for both tokens in that sense. But like already utility with Talos, if that's what you're looking at, we just stood up a Talos specific DAO and on-chain treasury with the help of Clarity platform. And
Nice.
and so we're in the process of getting all that dev allocation that we sent there moved over to that specific DAO. So the community members that are holding Talos have governance rights over that on-chain treasury. They command something like, I mean, it's over $700,000 last time I checked. Like, so it's a pretty massive treasury that the community command. Yeah, and that's just Talos. And then Shards on its own is also around the same, which is crazy. What's even more impressive about Shards is that treasury owns like 25% of the token now. So the community really owns in that on-chain treasury like 25% of the max supply of Shards, because we've taken it all the way down to 3 million now. But yeah, so that's the first utility, right? Number two, immediately what we did is like Cardevia, our chat GPT basically for builders. We put discount tiers in there. So if you hold, it was 1 million Talos, you have a lifetime premium subscription to Cardevia, right? We might need to adjust that now based on market rates, but and we do stuff like that. But basically that's the kind of idea behind these things. If you own these tokens, you get massive, massive discounts on all of our products and services that we're coming out with. We do the same thing with Shards, right? Like you have a discount on that. And then with Shard Swap, which you could see on our front page, it's coming soon. It's been that way for a little while. Shard Swap is basically a complete like disruptor, we feel like, to the marketplace game. So this is going to be a P2P marketplace, and we're going to launch our MVP this week. And what it is basically is like we're using peer-to-peer swaps, atomic swaps, with baked in AI analytics and stuff. So you're going to have Talos be able to be like, someone you see a recommendation for a bundle or something like that. Like someone's got X amount of token and Y amount of NFTs that they want to swap for something else. And basically you can go right over to Talos if you're a holder and stuff, and you have your tokens locked up to use it. You do a risk analysis and he'll tell you, that has this on-chain activity. This is how many holders. This is the, their website and their links and stuff. If I was going to buy it or sell it, here's what I would do. And here's my confidence rating in that. Like 80% buy or 60% sell or what have you. So in that way, our users are gaining another competitive edge rather than having to go out and synthesize all of that information because it's all out there publicly available, right? But Talos can do it faster and better in fractions of time, and then be able to spit out the output, and then people can make informed decisions. And additionally, we're going to iterate upon that. It's also going to be predictive market analytics. So he will actually be able to predict and say, hey, looking at the on-chain activity, the social sentiment from X, I think that we could see this amount of movement in this token or NFT over the next, XYZ time horizon.
So I mean, dude, that's a lot to unpack. So I kind of have a question, like, how does this work in the sense of, are you on your end creating some sort of formula for it to identify what risk is? Like, how is it now going in and being able to say, hey, this is more risky than that, or hey, I think that this price is going up? It is pulling its data from, let's say, different social metrics, but are you on your side somehow making a calculation that is defining what risk is for Talos? Or is it somehow being able to learn all of this based on other people's information and data that's already out there?
So I'm not going to be able to tell you specifics, and I hope you respect,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
obviously,
of
because
course.
Talos is like open sourcing his personality, right? But I can't share that part with you. But what I can tell you is, it just broadly speaking, what we're doing is aggregating all the on-chain metrics, right? Like the OCHLV, like he's looking at MACD, RSI, like he's looking at TA analysis for tokens and NFTs. One, he's looking at liquidity pools and holder amounts. Two, top whales holding a certain amount. Three, then he's looking at total market cap, right? Volatility, how much the price has changed and stuff. And he's aggregating all of this together before he's making an informed decision based on some proprietary knowledge that we've given him, but also, not to make it too much of a mystery. You can fine tune these AI models with real time formulas and things that are out there. I mean, you go out to Investopedia or whatever, you can scrape that kind of stuff, and you can actually feed it to these things if they don't already aggregate all that human training data and have it loaded in their models, right? And some of these new models, specifically a model that we're using with Talos right now, is actually a reasoning model. So I've seen some comments before. It was like, oh, these are just LLMs and stuff. And I want to stop them. I'd be like, that used to be the case, right? But now, to help you be a little more informed, we've grown beyond just predicting the next word or sentence like that. That's no longer the case. These models are actually thinking through everything that you're feeding them, and they're actually have a thought train to follow before they're generating.
Oh, you cut out for a second.
Oh, sorry.
Dude, so no, that's good. I mean, it probably was me. I'm in Vietnam. So I think my Wi-Fi is probably a little more sketch. But so, man, this is insane. So where do you, and I know we're early on, and I know I've been doing research on my end too, of like just trying to get up to date on as much as what's happening in AI as possible. I mean, where do you see this going? Because right now you're already creating Talos with all these capabilities. It's transitioned from more than just some sort of basic chat bot with a funny personality, kind of like a smart aleck personality in a way. Um, but now you're getting to the point where it is literally most likely being able to predict where tokens are going to go way faster and way better than any human can. And I'm just curious if this is already what we're seeing. And in all honesty, you're a small team right now. So there's probably teams over at OpenAI and Google that have billions of dollars, right? Like, where do you see this going? Do you see it getting to the point where AI agents are the only people are the only things trading in the future, and like people are just trying to invest in the best agents at that point? Or like where do you see trading going specifically when it comes to AI agents?
I think it'll be similar to the way it's been for the stock market, because this is not a new concept. It's a newer concept with AI agents specifically, right? And these newer
Okay.
models, but this is not a new concept holistically for the stock market, right? So I think I kind of see it slightly nuanced just because the ease and availability of use with these types of models. But I see like a lot of people still choosing to trade, and at the same time a lot of people using something to trade for them, right? So like we are very very interested as a company in finding clients that want to use Talos's portfolio management sub processes, right? So they can offer like portfolio management. You just go in and you set like, hey, I want this much percentage of meme coins, these are my favorites, I want this much DPIN, this much fresh powder ADA, boom, set it, forget it, and then it just does it 24/7 for you. You could be aggressive, you could be super conservative, whatever. You can have all these configurations. So things like that, things like token risk analysis, so you can make more informed decisions yourself. So I think there's going to be a spectrum, right? And people are going to fall into using a type of agentic solution somewhere in that spectrum, or going full bore or having very little. But I made this commitment a long time ago, just in our Discord chat. I told kind of the community, I said, eventually you will not, I'm making it my mission, right? And I could be proven wrong, sure. But I'm making it my mission that you will not be able to go anywhere and interact with anything in the Cardano ecosystem without touching Talos in some way. That he's either influenced directly or indirectly. And what I mean by that is I'm talking with teams to get him into wallets so that ease of onboarding. I mean, I could give my mom the phone and be like, here, download this wallet. The second she downloads it, Talos greets her and says, hey, welcome. You just downloaded this Cardano wallet. This is what it does. Here's how you get started. Ask me anything and everything you want to know. More advanced users. Here's your daily news. Here's your daily governance news. Here's your daily trading news, etc. Even sending to your contacts. Hey, I need to send Jason 150 ADA. I borrowed some the other day. Can you sign that transaction for me and send it? So, sure, here it is. Can you proofread it? Yep, looks good. Send. Stuff like that.
Easy. Yeah, I mean, it's just going to revolutionize everything that we're doing. I mean, if like for the average person listening, because I know you're doing a lot of business to business stuff, right? And I think a lot of people have been talking about from a business standpoint, okay, like how can these agents be used? How do you think like the average person viewing right now? And shout out to the 120 people live. I honestly wasn't expecting this many people to listen in on the first one here. And also, if you're listening in, feel free to drop some questions in the chat. You might have to go to my YouTube channel to do it, though. I thought it was supposed to aggregate X questions, but we're going to do a
I
Q&A
saw
at the
X.
end. So if
I
you
saw
have any
X just pop
questions.
up.
Oh, nice. Oh, okay. So it looks like some people can chat on X. Okay, sweet. Ada Shark, thanks for showing. I thought I was going crazy. I guess no one had made a comment yet. But yeah, like where like how can like the average person like feel like they're not missing out here, and like how can they leverage these AI agents in their life? Or do you think it's going to be one of those situations where the businesses are going to make it within their products, so like normal people are using it, but they're like not the ones that are do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, so the way I look at it is it's kind of like Promethean fire, right? Which it's like this crazy innovation that is birthed, right? And then out of that, people take it and shape it into the things they want. What people tend to miss sometimes is like, oh yeah, no, I missed the AI agent train. Like someone's already doing this. Like, what's funny is actually I can rewind to like a year ago when I started talking about AI in Discords and things like that, and how we were going to put it in games, and like, oh, you got a lot of competition with that AI space, like, and what people don't understand is like when something like this comes about, the successful teams are not necessarily the first movers. Even it's the people that understand, okay, we can really improve this niche, that there's a high demand for this sort of thing, or birth a totally new demand, right? An emerging market with that type of technology, right? People need to look beyond just the surface innovation. And I feel like at Flux Point Studios, we really have a good handle on that. So we're not concerned with, we don't see farm roll as competition. We don't see chakra as competition, right? Like they are all doing very specific things. And Talos and really advanced agentic solutions and innovations, right? We're out there like trying to figure out, okay, what is a problem that we can solve, that we can insert an agent into this, and it can be done more intelligently, more efficiently, and more cost effective, right? And that will forever be our mission, right? Until I deem otherwise. But yeah, so that's really what it is. And I guess to your point, how can consumers get their hands on it? Hey, Eliza is a great framework to start with. The Eliza OS. There's a lot of open source contribution to that project. There's other ones out there, and people can dive right in if they want to get their hands dirty. Or there is going to be businesses. There is going to be like Chakra, right? Which I'm a part of. I have a hand in that development. And shout out to the Indigo team, because they're going to deliver an amazing product with that. If you just want to spin up your own agent on a launch pad that is high quality and is already going to have some really cool features, then Chakra is the way to go, right? So you can kind of like choose which direction you want to go. And then for us offering our solutions directly to customers, we really want to see other businesses like understanding the value in this and getting onboarded with our APIs and stuff like that and get it integrated in their dApps. But we're not going to wait on them to do it. We're rolling out Shard Swap this week, MVP, and it's already going to have a feature where, like, for example, Talos' token risk analysis that you could load onto a different dApp. We're going to have it right there for our community. You just have to have X amount of Talos tokens like locked up and or spent in order to use it.
Yeah, makes sense. And kind of my next question here, like to go into a personal conversation with you, is what, I guess, made you go all in on this? Because I know you were saying you had a 9 to 5 for a while. You were doing that. You were doing some different things with Flux Point. Like, what made you kind of flip that switch and just go all in? And because now you are like fully committed to this, right? Like, you're like, I love the bee footage in the background too. She keeps it entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you're fully into this. Like, when did that transition happen? And I'm just curious from like a team standpoint too. Like, have you mostly been doing this all yourself, or like have you now built out a team around you that is helping? Like, I'm curious there.
Yes to all the above. So basically, I left my job at Concentrix December of this last year. Like literally on December 31st was my very last day at Concentrix.
And then a few days later was Talos, right?
Right. And kind of the thought process was I already figured I had got myself like 6 months worth of runway for contracts that we at Flux Point Studios have built up as a software development company. There was people like that wanted to contract our dev services because they knew we were good devs, right? And then so I was like, okay, cool. I got myself a little bit of runway, and now I can work on like this Talos thing like full time over the next 2 weeks, like, and get it launched, right? And that'll give me a little breathing room also to work on these contracts. And that did not happen. I got no breathing room. Talos happened, and then it was like, boom, slammed again. Actually, more busy than I've ever been. And so I basically, it was the company is comprised of like myself as CEO, and I oversee all the AI solutions and like Web3 components to kind of like our entire business. And I also had a hand in game development before. Thankfully, my counterpart, who's our CTO, his name is Johan Gerarden. He is French native, but he's based in Tokyo, and he oversees all of our game development. And he's a freaking, I mean, literally, like I can show him some of these stuff that's been built on Cardano. Like, unfortunately, like if they've been victims of like, bleeding out, losing funds or something like that. And he's like, oh man, yeah, we could spin something up like that in Unity in a day. Like, he is honestly like a prodigy. Yeah, and he's kind of built this whole team underneath him, right? That's contracted to Flux Point Studios, and they do amazing work, right? They're working on like 3 different titles right now, which is freaking crazy. But yeah, in order to give myself some more breathing room on the AI side and Web3 side, I have just brought on and contracted 3 amazing developers that I found right in the community. They're awesome. Shout out to Ibra, Sam, and Roland. Like they're killing it. One even helps me like build Talos now, like because he has LLM experience in a call center environment too. So yeah, I hadn't had them before, and now that I do have them, I feel like we're just operating at like warp speed.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome that and I think that's one of the cool things when you're really innovating and going so hard at your project, like, you're going to attract people that wanna be part of that sort of culture and environment of what you've built. Because like, when I think of Talos, I just think, like, out of all the projects on Cardano right now, like, you guys are leading innovation. Right? Like, I think it's one of those things, like, if I was to see some sort of if you told me, "Guess a project that just came out with something that hasn't been done before on Cardano." Like, Talos is what's coming to my mind, and I think that's a really strong narrative if you can really, keep that sort of mentality and pace and culture and sort of what people think of when they think of Talos. Like, okay, where it's at right now is very, very small compared to where it can be in the future, simply because of where the AI technology is right now, but also because they have a dedicated team of people that are very knowledgeable and are trying to innovate and are trying to do cool things. So, yeah, I think you guys are in a great spot. And one question I have too, like, you guys never actually did a token sale. I know you said you launched on Snack Fund. Didn't even didn't even mint out in 30 minutes, which is crazy because it only needs like 10,000 ADA or something like that. GG to those who got in during the Snack Fund launch. Like, on a funding wise, like, basically you guys are able to make enough money from the B2B deals to sustain the whole team without needing like any of the token allocation? Because like, you needed to sell any of the tokens? Like, is it like completely sustainable right now?
I've had to sell very, very, very little of the token allocation, which is great. And that's ideally how we want it to be, right? Like I look at like my allocation that I bought in of Talos, I want to hold on to that for as long as I can because I mean I'm biased, right? But I look at that as something that could go way higher. When I'm thinking about like the implications of like the technology and stuff, there's a really, really high demand for the things that we have in development, which are absolutely going to be insane. It's only been it'll be 2 months in like 6 days. In 6 days, it'll be 2 months since Talos went live, and we've already like done so much, and we're coming to market with some things from him. So when I extrapolate that out and I think long term, like it's just it has a lot of potential. Um, Now, getting to your question, funding, I have been fortunate enough to make enough money, like at my previous job, to be able to put some away, and yeah, been able ultimately to um, fund the project up until this point. I mean, it's been a couple $100,000, but when I think about it,
Wow.
but yeah, it's been worth it. And when we talk about like bringing on these new people, these are people that I think that the token's got a lot of room to run too, right? And they're happy to take their equity like in the project, right?
Yeah.
So we've been very fortunate for that. And then plus we're also bringing in revenue from, I did mention like we have some contracts out there to other bigger projects where we're building things for them. And so they're paying us in that. And so that's ultimately what I'm doing is like I'm making sure that because I don't like speculation. I do not like the idea of, oh yeah, the token's doing great, so the project's healthy. No. I need to see deposits into the bank account from our products and services before
Yes.
I will feel comfortable.
Yeah, man. I agree. No, dude, that's awesome. I mean, respect you for self-funding all of that. 300K, geez. I mean, that like goes to show the conviction in it too. I feel that way as well with my project Jelly Cubes. Like, I've never sold a Jelly Cube NFT. Like outside of our mint that was very low raise, never sold one. And it's been over 3 years running this project. And there's been times where I could have like used the money in some sort of way, whatever. But I think like you've got to have that conviction as a founder too. Now, I will say, I don't think anyone in the Talos community will blame you if you need to sell some because they know it's going to be redirected back
Oh,
into the
100%.
project, right? Like
Yeah,
they're not
100%.
going to be
And I
like, "Oh,
never,
he's buying a Lamborghini." They're going to be like, "Okay, he's like reinvesting that into the next steps here."
I might pay off the minivan, you
Yeah.
know? No. So that's the other thing too, is like, I don't want people to have any illusions at all, right? Like the I bought in the token just when everybody else did, just early, right? Because I of course launched it, but it wasn't like a pre-mine or anything like that. Like I bought after the thing was already
On
live.
open, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And if I need to sell some of that in order to pay bills and overhead, you bet your ass I'm going to sell some of that to pay bills and overhead. That is a much better use of the money than like it just being blown on something else, right? And you can guarantee that I have a really great reason if I'm ever turning around and selling any of it because I'm here to drive the business forward, right? So that's ultimately what it is. I don't want people to ever feel like, oh, yeah, no, he doesn't sell diamond handed. No, no, no. Listen, if
Yeah.
you're up, if you guys are up and you need to take profits, take profits. Okay. I am the
Yeah.
first one to tell you that. But then I'm also going to tell you that I think that this thing has way, way more potential. And I'm going to hold on to every last bit that I got, that I went and bought as long as I can.
Sucks. Dude, I'm kicking myself because I saw it so early on in our Discord. I think some people in our community literally got in during Snack Fun, which is crazy. And I didn't know you were the founder of it. And I looked at it and it was already like $1 million, 1.8 million a market cap with it very quickly, like within the first couple of days or something like that, if I'm remembering correctly. And I just was like, ah, man, like there's not that many tokens that really run past a million ADA. Like a lot of them really get stuck at that level. And then when Darkwing told me that you were running it, I was like, holy crap, like that's the guy that, owns a bunch of Crocs I had met and talked to in person. And man, I didn't think it would go to like 17 mil recently like it did. But man, I think what's really special about your guys' project is the confidence and the expert and the experience and the expertise and like you as the founder because it kind of gives confidence like okay, this guy fronted a bunch of the money, he's been in the space for years, he's willing to come on a podcast like this and show his face and talk about the project, which is like very few people honestly are willing to do that. And it was kind of like the perfect situation where you already had a name in the space, you already had all that AI experience, and then the AI meta came, and you guys were like in the perfect position to really, really nail it. And you haven't like wasted that position either. Like you haven't like slacked on that, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Um, but dude, yeah, that was just my flowers to you. Now, I
Thank you.
there's a couple more questions I want to ask. One thing I want to say to the 200 people listening right now, thanks for listening in. If you have questions, we're doing a rapid fire Q&A in probably like 5 minutes from now. So if you have questions, whether you're on YouTube or X, just put them in and we'll try to answer all the questions that come up. But yeah, so I have two more questions here. Right now, what is the first question is what's next? You said the shard swap thing. Like what else is coming?
Yeah. So a lot basically, like, are you talking AI solution specific or gaming also?
I'm saying,
Because we got that
dude, give
whole
us
other
the
side of the
alpha. Give
house.
it like give the people listening today the alpha. Like
Yeah.
what can they expect? Like just drop the bombs.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I think some of the things that we were talking about is basically like, so one of Talos's new services, I'm meeting with somebody this week, and it's going to be really, really crazy. It's going to be unlike any. It actually has the potential of making Cardano like super, super viable for market making. So the reason why market making hasn't been a big deal on Cardano in the past is because it's so expensive, right? And people don't. Yeah, I put air quotes because some people think it is expensive, some people think it don't. But realistically, like the security of having a higher fee for transactions is there for a reason. But is it too high? Yeah, it could be. It definitely could be argued that it's too high, right? And needs to be adjusted. But that's neither here nor there. In order to do market making services, and some people want to look at volume or liquidity providing and stuff like that, you got batcher fees and you got all these stuffs. But I am talking with someone this week, and we're thinking about teaming up on solving this issue and having a peer-to-peer arbitrage trading without any batcher fees at all. It would be basically atomic agentic swaps using Talos. And so everyone will be able to have like this liquidity providing service for market making, or this volume support service through Talos. And that could really explode volume on Cardano. I'm talking like exponentially, to where people start going, oh crap, like where did this come from? And why haven't we been paying more attention to Cardano? And what's even better is it will be a better market making services than the other chains where they're just wash trading back and forth. Because when it's agentic, you essentially have these personalities that are managing portfolios. And so it is organic trading, right? Because they are trying to balance each individual portfolio with every transaction, right? So it's really something incredibly unique. And it's like, I feel like it's breaking the sound barrier again type of thing. So I'm really excited about that. The other thing that's coming to the public is Talos token risk analysis service. Trade has teased it. They're supposed to be going live, I think, today or maybe by the 5th. And so people can go there and do the Talos token risk analysis. Unpopular L, he's put it out there that he's going to integrated it into the callers DApp that he's building, which would be really cool. We've been talking to Wi-Fi about them testing it out. So there's another potential integration there, depending on what they think, with like rolling it out with the version 3 for Wi-Fi. And then obviously the shard swap integration, where it's like a P2P AI integrated marketplace, which is just going to be completely wild. And there's tons of stuff there. Then with shards, there's a new tribe update that's coming. I meet with Johan every Wednesday, and we go over all the progress and stuff like that. And it's entering beta now. So it's been on tribe has been on Epic Game Store in early access alpha. It's already had over 15,000 downloads, and that's of people that are not particularly in the Cardano community. Some of them might be, but that's a lot of. I've looked at the analytics, and it's a lot of people from all over. And they're really just playing it to play it, right? So they're interested in the game itself. And so this entering this beta phase in like, I think in 2 weeks we're going to be finally ready for the release. I mean, I get goosebumps looking at the Wednesday night updates with Johan, because it is like a totally different game. Like it is night and day different than what's there now, right? If you go play today, you see very much like a Lyra starter game structure with maybe a couple reskins and stuff like that. But this new update is bringing in a melee class, right, into this third-person shooter. It's bringing in a lot of like balancing mechanics and different stuff to make it extremely competitive. And a brand new shop. We're integrating Solana to have like a Solana integration for like marketplace transactions and stuff while we build up on the Cardano side and have our SDK finished. So that way it's like a multi-chain marketplace in a game. And then we have a new title, and we haven't figured out the name for it yet. But it's a labor of love from Johan. He really had this vision, and no one's heard about this, so this is completely exclusive to this space that I even said this. But essentially, it's a hero coming of age story. you're about to leave town, and then your town gets just completely wiped out by a meteor, and the meteors actually gives birth to like this boss that you just encounter right at the onset of it. And the whole game is basically finding different ways to combat this boss and like take him down. And when he first pitched me the idea, I was like, okay, sounds interesting. It wouldn't be typically a game I would play, but then like the more and more we started going through it, and there's a big market for it, and I think people are going to love it. The art style is very anime, very edgy and cool, and it's going to be amazing. It's unlike anything we've ever done.
So real quick about the game. I mean, you're dropping a lot. Like real quick about the game. Is this like a game that you can download Epic Games and like you play it, and is it free? What's going on there?
Which one? Sorry.
The new one that you're talking about right now.
The new one, you're going to buy it. The new one will be one that you buy. And if you're a holder of shards, we're going to find a way to get you the game for free.
Okay, so that's how Shards is going to benefit. Is like, okay, they get access to some of this for free.
Yep. Everyone else has to pay for it. And then if you hold a certain amount of shards, then you get the game for free.
Awesome. And then just to like tag before you go on, like just to tag back on like all the different integrations you're doing. You said callers with L, and you're working with some wallets, and you're working with V Finance potentially. With these different integrations, it almost reminds me of what Dex Hunter has done with their widget, where you can trade with Dex Hunter everywhere. I know you made a comment earlier talking about how you want every interaction to be with Talos in some sort of way. There is automatically the benefit of having that sort of marketing and exposure and recognition through these platforms. But is there any sort of way that like Talos holders benefit from those different integrations?
Yeah, absolutely. And so let me first say that we're a registered, incorporated in Delaware in the United States, right? So give some context to this. We will absolutely find ways to benefit our holders by using the revenue generated from these B2B actions to go back to the on-chain treasury, or any way that we can within the laws of the United States, avoid regulatory scrutiny. So whether that's random, like one thing we did is like an airdrop the other day. Well, how can we get away with that? One, we didn't guarantee there was going to be an airdrop. Two, we never announced there was going to be an airdrop. And three, we never made a commitment or a promise that there's ever going to be a future airdrop, right? So you just have to operate on faith that you're going to get an airdrop if you hold these tokens, right? That's completely up to you. But in addition to that, things that we can say with 100% certainty is we will allocate revenue back into treasury, whether that's buy and burn mechanism, the tokens and adding to liquidity pool, whatever we have to do, that we're operating within the exact confines that we can in regulation, then we're going to do. So like all these like B2B clients and stuff like that, they're going to pay us for our API services for Talos, and then we're going to put those payments back into our community.
Nice. That's bullish. Okay. And I guess proceed with the rest of the alpha that you were dropping. Was there anything else?
Yeah. So there was just a really quick is we recently acquired the IP and all the assets and everything for Eden 7. That was a project that started on Cardano. And the reason why I went and acquired it is because like I actually liked the assets that they had previewed so far. I kind of liked the IP and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? This would fit. Okay, baby, 1 second. I was like, this kind of fits really well with what we want to do for a pixelated RPG game, right? And they already did like not a ton of work on the actual MVP of the game, but they had a lot of assets that were done that we just kind of need to put together and build out this MVP. So we're doing a complete NFT refresh. No one's heard about that until you and the audience here today. So we're doing a complete NFT PFP refresh. It's going to be very, very low. I mean, we're not trying to make money off this thing. We're literally just trying to justify getting the old PFP back, getting the new one in your hands, and with a little bit of shards. like getting a little bit of shards back with it, right? So we're trying to just make that cost all make sense. So I'm not talking anything above like it's 7 to 10 ADA mint thing, right? Just for all those NFTs. And it is badass PFP pixelated art that you are literally, unlike the old art, like you're actually going to have this character in the game. If you have this NFT, you will play that hero. It will be in the game as your hero when you connect your wallet. So there's only 7,777 of those. Everybody else that plays the game, characters or whatever in the future or whatever we plan to come out with to generate revenue that way, but they will never have those characters. They'll be completely special collector's edition. And so that's what we have for Eden 7. And then the MVP of that, you can expect it this summer. Right after this new title that I just announced launches, we're going to be launching the MVP of Eden 7. It's probably going to be like, hey, you're starting out in your home area. You have some world map that you can see. You can encounter some battles. You can maybe encounter a first boss, get a little bit of the storyline. And then that'll be essentially it for the summer as we continue to build it out. And then maybe like looking for a full release sometime next year.
Wow. That's a lot. I don't know how you do all this. I really don't know how you do all this shit.
Great team. Well,
yeah.
Having ADHD helps, but then I also have a great team.
Yes. Dude, and you must be very good at delegating an organization. Because that's a lot to stay on top of. That is a lot to stay. Like as a fellow founder, that is a lot to stay on top.
So I used to, before like getting into concentrics and everything, what I used to do is I actually led call center teams. I worked for Verizon Business and Government, and so I was actually I started out on the phones, then I became supervisor, then I became this thing called senior manager on deck, where it's basically like you are a point of contact for all the other supervisors to come to and help them with their teams and coaching and things like that. And then I moved up to executive relations branch, where literally like one time I had to help with a Obama situation, like President Obama's phone number got out and stuff. And
wow. Okay.
We had to help with that. Yeah, it was wild. There was a situation where, the fires in California were really, really bad. I mean, they always are bad, like every year, right? But I was a point of contact for helping them get like unlimited, unthresholded data flows to their devices while they're out there fighting fires and stuff like that. So I led a lot of teams during that time, and I definitely was not the best leader when I first started. I learned a ton there. And it was very, very humbling because I thought coming into it, I knew how to be a boss and I had no idea. But just like working with a lot of different people and coaching them up and watching them get promoted to like other positions and stuff was truly humbling and a great experience. And I think that's where like the delegation experience came from, really.
Awesome. Well, dude, we've got a few minutes left here. Everyone that's listening in, 254 people live, which is insane. It's just been going up the whole time. I first want to say I appreciate everyone joining in. This was our first JellyPod episode, and we're about to do a quick 5-minute rapid fire Q&A. So if you have any questions that you want Decimalist to answer, Decimalist, you're going to have like 15, 20 seconds to be able to answer each of the questions we do in this rapid fire. And if you enjoyed this episode, guys, this week is stacked already. Actually, the next 2 weeks are stacked. I'm almost doing an episode a day. So I think tomorrow we have Iagon. So if you're interested in Iagon, it's a big project, very successful. And I can't remember what time we're having them on. We have a little post schedule graphic on our Twitter, JellyCubes. And at any point in time, you can go, we'll always go live on our JellyCubes X account. So give us a follow. And then also my YouTube channel, you can follow us on there as well. But yeah, let's do the quick Q&A here. Is Talos still coded?
Yes.
Yes. Let's see here. When will Talos be able to make Sheriff's wife love him again?
Early 2027.
Early 2027. Nice. Are you a hero?
No, never meet your heroes.
Never meet your heroes. What special ability will Talos have inside of Tribe? Tribes?
Tribe. We're gonna make him a crack shot with the sniper rifle.
Nice, nice. Okay. Can Talos provide tools for in real life businesses?
Yes, in fact, that was one of the ones we talked about. Talos token risk analysis. That's already proof that this is our first tool for IRL businesses.
Nice. Okay, from GP here. As Cardano becomes more interoperable with Bitcoin and other crypto ecosystems, how easy or difficult will it be to have Talos assist users in navigating a multi chain experience?
Super, super easy. We're already working on it.
Nice. I wasn't expecting a quick answer there, but nice. All right, measuring tokens a user has locked up as spent is an interesting concept. Will this be seen as a method of measuring reputability on the gaming side?
Huh. That's interesting. That's not something we've explored yet, but it's an interesting thought.
Nice. Are you going to be able to stake Talos?
Yes, should be done with that this week.
Nice. Is there a snack partnership in the works?
There's been a snack conversation. At this time, there's no formal partnership agreement that's been signed.
Nice. And then what is Talos token used for? What are the benefits of holding it?
Governance, discounts on AI solutions and services, and access to cool AI tools that nobody else has.
Nice. I think I've already asked this one from the sheriff. When will the sheriff's wife love him again? Early 2020. I had to ask again. And then Bomo here. What's up, Bomo? Desi, are there any DeFi adjacent platforms you see Talos using in the future, like Bodega, Donzo, Casino, etc.?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. I love it, man. But dude, guys, that's all the questions for today. Perfect timing. We're right about that hour mark. I appreciate you hopping on, man. This was a really great podcast. Hope everyone enjoyed it. Really great turnout. Wasn't expecting this many people to come in today. And if you came late into this, I don't know like how X live streams work, honestly, how it saves it. But you can always check out my YouTube channel, Jason Bork. I know it saves the full live stream. So if you ever want to watch back on it, I'm also going to be posting like some shorts from this too on my personal X. So you can see some of these clip highlights over the course of the next week or two here. But yeah, to kind of finish this off, is there anything else you wanted to say as we close here to the audience today?
No, I think I said a lot. Thank you, Jason, for having me on for your very first podcast. It was super fun. I hope I got everyone's questions answered to the best of my ability. And yeah, man, anytime you want to talk, hit me up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But all right, awesome, guys. It was nice seeing everyone. Hope everyone has an awesome day, and I'll see y'all later.